بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أخذنا في الدرس الماضي أن العبادة لا يمكن أن تصرف إلا لله. كل من صار شيء من العبادة لغير الله فهو مشرك كافر.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. In the previous lesson we understood that worship is the pure sincere right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore whoever directs an act of worship to other than Allah, then this person is a mushrik, a kafir, a polytheist and a disbeliever.
وذكرنا أيضا أن لابد أن نفرق بين الحكم عن الفعل والحكم عن الفاعل.
And also we mentioned that we have to differentiate between making a ruling on a person and making a ruling upon the person who does the action, between the action and the person.
ندرس الآن الحكم عن الفعل.
So now we're going to study the rulings on the actions, not the people, the actions.
أما الحكم على الفاعل لابد فيه من إقامة الحجة وانتفاء الشبهة ولابد من الرجوع فيه إلى العلماء.
So as for making a ruling upon a person who does a particular action, then first of all you have to remove the doubts he might have in his mind which cause him to do that action. You have to establish the evidence against him. You have to establish if there anything which prevents him from doing that action. All of these things you have to remove before you make a ruling on a person.
فإذا كفر العلماء كفرنا.
And then we go back to the scholars. So if the scholars then call this person a disbeliever, then we say yes, he's a disbeliever.
وإذا توقف العلماء توقفنا.
But if the scholars, if they withhold and they don't give a ruling, then we withhold and we don't give a ruling.
وإذا ذكر العلماء أن هذه المسألة يكفر كل من صنع كذا وكذا، مثال أن المستهزئ بالله يكفر، فحكم العلماء على هذه المسألة أنه يكفر كائنا من كان. فهنا رجعنا العلماء ذكروا هذه المسألة وفصلوا بها. فماذا نصنع؟ نرجع إلى العلماء في مسألة تكفير المعين. ذكر العلماء تكفير كفروا، ذكروا أنهم لابد من إقامة الحجة وانتفاء الشبهة وما إلى ذلك، فنصنع هذا الأمر الذي ذكر لنا العلماء. نعم.
And also in some actions, the scholars have mentioned that this action, whomsoever does this action is a kafir. Whoever this person is, if he does this type of action, then he becomes a kafir. For example, the scholars have mentioned that anybody who mocks al-istihza, who mocks or makes a mockery of the religion or an aspect of the religion, then he's a disbeliever. So the scholars have mentioned this about this action. Whomsoever mocks the religion of Islam or an aspect from the aspects of Islam, then this person is a disbeliever. So then we go back to the scholars. If they say kafir, we say kafir. If they say that no, establish the evidence upon him, remove any doubts he may have, then we do this.
نعم. ثم بعد هذا أخذنا أن الدعاء ينقسم إلى قسمين، دعاء عبادة ودعاء مسألة.
And we also mentioned after this that dua, supplications, it's of two types. Dua al-ibadah and dua al-mas'ala.
دعاء العبادة صرف لغير الله شرك أكبر كمن صلى وصام وحج لغير الله.
So dua al-ibadah, the first type, like praying or fasting or hajj, if somebody directs this to other than Allah, then this person disbelieves.
أما دعاء المسألة فنقسم إلى قسمين.
And as for dua al-mas'ala, then it's two types.
فيما لا يقدر عليه إلا الله صرف لغير الله شرك أكبر.
Making a request from a person or making a request for something which only Allah can do. So if you to ask somebody, a person, for something which only Allah can do, then it's shirk akbar.
وفيما يقدر عليه المخلوق قلنا يصح بشروط أربعة.
And as for requesting something from a person which he has the ability to do, we say that this is correct but with 4 conditions.
أن يطلب هذا من حي.
That the person that you're asking is living,
حاضر,
he is present,
قادر,
he is able,
تعتقد أنه سبب.
And that you believe that this person is only a means that Allah has placed.
فإذا اعتقد أن لهذا تصرف خفي في الكون وبيد جلب المنافع ودفع المضار فهذا شرك أكبر.
But if you in your heart, you believe that this person, he has control or overall control of the universe, or that in his hands he owns the ability to benefit others or to harm others, this is his sole right, then this is shirk akbar.
مثل هذا الباب باب الاستعانة والاستعاذة والاستغاثة والشفاعة على ما ذكر الشيخ بن عثيمين رحمه الله تعالى.
So, in this same example, these same classifications, these types that we've mentioned, al-isti'ana, seeking help,
يعني الاستعانة من المخلوق، الاستعانة بالمخلوق فيما يقدر عليه، هل يصح على باب الدعاء أن يكون من حي وحاضر وقادر وسبب. نعم.
So, for example, seeking help, or seeking refuge, or seeking to be saved by somebody when you're in trouble, or seeking intercession, for example, all of these acts, somebody might say to you, is it correct for you to do these acts or request them from somebody who is living? And we go back to these 4 conditions. If these 4 conditions are met, that the person is living and present and able, and that you only believe that he's a means, and this is permissible.
مثال.
So an example of this,
أنا أطلب من هذا الأخ أن يعينني في حمل هذه الطاولة.
So for example, if I request from this brother that he helps me in picking up this table,
هل يصح هذا أو لا يصح؟
is this permissible or not?
ننظر. حي.
We look, we consider, is he living?
نعم.
Yes.
حاضر.
Is he present?
نعم موجود هنا.
Yes, he's present.
وليس بغائب.
He's not absent.
قادر.
Is he able to do so?
نعم بإذن الله وصحيح معافى.
Inshallah, he's healthy, he's well, he's able to help.
سبب.
Is he only, do we believe that he's only a mean that Allah has placed upon this earth?
نعم إن أتى وحمل الحمد لله ما يأتي غيره.
Yes, if he comes and he helps us, that's good. If he can't help, then somebody else can come. It's in the hands of Allah.
الاستغاثة.
Similarly with al-istighatha, the meaning of istighatha is to seek rescue when you're in trouble.
غارق هذا الأخ في البحر.
So for example, we have a brother who's drowning in the sea.
فأخذ ينادي هذا على الشاطئ.
So the brother, he's standing on the coast, and the one who's drowning, he calls him, save me, save me.
يقول يا فلان أغثني أغثني أغاثك الله.
He says, oh so and so, save me, save me.
هل يصح هذا؟
Is it permissible for him to say this?
حي
We look.
وحاضر وقادر وسبب.
4 conditions we look. Is the person present? Is the person living? Is the person able to help him? And do you believe that he's only a means on this earth?
لكن غرق إنسان في البحر وأخذ ينادي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ينادي جبريل ينادي الولي.
But if a person is drowning and then he starts to call out the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or Jibreel, or Wali, a righteous person,
هذا شرك أكبر.
this is then shirk akbar.
إذا هل يصح طلب الدعاء من المخلوق نعم أم لا؟ من يعرف؟
So therefore the question is it permissible to supplicate or request or seek assistance from another created being? Who knows?
هل يصح طلب الدعاء من المخلوق؟
Is it permissible?
طريقة السؤال.
Is it permissible to supplicate?
هل يصح طلب الدعاء من المخلوق أم لا؟ هل يصح دعاء المخلوق؟
Is it permissible for you to supplicate or request from a created being, another person?
Yes.
دعاء العبادة شرك أكبر.
If it's dua al-ibadah, we say shirk akbar.
ودعاء المسألة فيما لا يقدر عليه إلا الله شرك أكبر.
So if we say dua al-mas'ala in only that which Allah is able to do, shirk akbar.
إذا ماذا نقول؟ يصح دعاء المخلوق فيما يقدر عليه بشروط 4.
So therefore, with Shaykh's pointing out, you can't just say yes. You have to say yes, it's permissible for the one who is able to help you with 4 conditions.
هل يصح الاستعانة بالمخلوق؟
Are you allowed to do al-isti'ana, which is seeking assistance from another created being?
يصح أو لا؟ نعم أم لا؟
Is it correct? Yes or no?
من يعرف ما يعرف؟
If you know, put your hand up. Yes or no?
نعم.
Yes, with 4 conditions.
الله يفتح عليك. يصح فيما يقدر عليه المخلوق بالشروط الأربع.
We say yes, it's permissible if the person is able to help you with 4 conditions.
نعم. طيب فيما لا يقدر عليه إلا الله هل يصح أو لا يصح الاستعانة بالمخلوق؟
Okay, if the person doesn't have the ability to help you, can you ask him or not?
شرك أكبر. فتح الله عليك. نعم. طيب. الآن ذكرنا في الشروط الشرط الرابع أن يعتقد أنه سبب.
So now in the 4 conditions we mentioned that the 4th condition is that you have to believe that this person is only a means from Allah. He's only a means.
الناس هنا انقسموا في الاعتقاد في الأسباب إلى 3 أقسام.
So in terms of the people who, with regards to somebody being an avenue or means or not, said there's 3 types of people.
صحيح وشرك أكبر وشرك أصغر. اعتقاد صحيح واعتقاد شرك أكبر واعتقاد شرك أصغر.
So there's a belief which is correct with regards to means and causes on this earth. There's a belief which is shirk asghar, a minor form of shirk, and then there is a belief which is shirk akbar, a major form of shirk. And if it's unclear, the Shaykh's going to make it clear.
الصحيح أن يعتقد ويجعل ما جعل الله سبحانه وتعالى سببا. يعني أولا لا يثبت من الأسباب إلا ما أثبت الله سبحانه وتعالى إما حسا أو شرعا.
So now the correct belief with regards to things, whether they're a cause or not, whether they're an avenue to do something or not, the correct belief is that you only say something is an avenue or is a means if Allah has made it an avenue for something or a means for something.
نعم. الشرط الثاني أن يعتقد أنه سبب. نعم.
And
يعتقد أنه سبب.
So the first thing is that you only believe something to be a reason or a cause if Allah has made it a cause or reason. Either by physical means and materialistically we know that this is a reason or a cause, or according to the Sharia. And then the second condition is that you believe that it's a means.
بالمثال يتضح إن شاء الله.
When we give an example it becomes clear إن شاء الله.
طيب مرض هذا الأخ لديه ألم في بطنه.
So for example, this brother, he becomes ill and he has an ailment or a pain in his stomach.
فماذا يصنع؟
So what does he do?
أخذ يقرأ على بطنها الفاتحة مثلا.
He starts reciting Surah Al-Fatiha upon his stomach.
هل يصح أو لا يصح؟
Is this correct or is this not correct?
هل الفاتحة جعلها الله سبحانه وتعالى سبب لإزالة المرض؟ نعم.
Meaning,
رقية الشرعية. إذن هو اعتقد وجعل ما جعل الله سبحانه وتعالى سببا فأخذ يقرأ على بطن الفاتحة وهذا سبب شرعي أو حسي؟ هذا سبب شرعي. نعم.
So for example, this brother, he has an ailment or a illness in his stomach, So he starts reciting Surah Al-Fatiha in order for this ailment to be cured or go away. Is this correct or not? It's correct. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who calls Surah Al-Fatiha to be a means by which a physical illness it can be removed. So therefore this brother, he has accepted or he believes something which Allah has made a cause to be a cause. However, this cause or this avenue of cure, is it something which is materialistic or is it something which is in the Sharia? In the Sharia, because it's called Ruqya Shari'ah. This is from the Ruqya.
نعم. طيب أو ذهب إلى مكان بيع الدواء وأخذ دواء وشرب قال بسم الله اللهم اجعل في هذا شفاء. هل يصح أو لا يصح؟
Or for example, the person who has this illness, he goes to a pharmacy or a place where he can get medicine. He takes some medicine and he drinks it. And he says, in the name of Allah, may this be a cause of cure. Is this correct or not?
يصح. هذا سبب الدواء سبب حسي.
It's correct. Why? Because Allah has made this cure, this medicine, a cause for his cure, but this medicine is a materialistic cause, a physical, realistic, worldly avenue for him to be cured, and therefore it's correct.
إذن الأسباب إما شرعية أو حسية.
So therefore, causes or avenues for something to be done can either be in the Sharia or can be physical, materialistic.
شرعية كالرقى الشرعية.
Sharia, for example, al-ruqya, reading the Quran.
حسية كالدواء.
Materialistic or physical, like for example, taking medicine, is a cause for somebody to be cured.
فإذا أخذ بالأسباب الشرعية أو الحسية مع اعتقاد أنها سبب فهذا صحيح.
So, if he uses those avenues or those causes, whether they're materialistic or whether they're in the Sharia, and then he believes that this is only a cause that Allah has made, then this is correct.
إذن القسم الأول الصحيح أن يأخذ بالأسباب الحسية أو الشرعية مع اعتقاد أنها سبب.
So therefore, the first type of belief in terms of the causes or the avenues is that he takes something as a cause, which Allah has made a cause, and he believes in his mind that this is only a cause.
وإذا اعتقد أن السبب هو المؤثر بذاته فهذا شرك أكبر.
But if he now believes the cause and says that this cause in itself, in its essence, is the one that cures, or this cause in itself is the one that benefits or harms, then this is shirk akbar. This is a major form of shirk.
مثاله
An example of this,
يضع رأس ثور على باب المنزل.
for example, he takes the head of a bull and he places it on top of his door.
تسأل لماذا تضع هذا رأس الثور على باب المنزل؟
So you ask him, why do you place the head of a bull on top of your house, on top of the door?
يقول لأن هذا الرأس هو الذي يدفع الجن والشياطين. أي مؤثر بذاته.
He responds by saying that the head of the bull in itself is what repels the jinn and the shayateen. So the head of the bull is the one in itself, in its own essence, that repels the harm.
فهذا شرك أكبر.
So this is major form of shirk, shirk akbar.
نعم. طيب وإذا قال أن رأس الثور هذا جعل الله سبحانه وتعالى سبب لدفع العين.
But let's say if he says that the head of the bull that I'm placing on top of my house, on top of the door, this is a cause or reason which Allah has made for jinn or shayateen to be repelled.
فهذا شرك أصغر.
This is a minor form of shirk, shirk asghar.
مرة أخرى.
One more time.
إذا أخذ بالأسباب الشرعية أو الأسباب الحسية مع اعتقاد أنها سبب فهذا صحيح.
If a person takes or does the causes or the avenues which Allah has made as a means or a cause or an avenue, whether it's in the Sharia or materialistic, and he believes that this is only a cause, it doesn't benefit or harm in itself, then this is correct.
وإذا اعتقد أن السبب هو المؤثر بذاته وبيد جلب المنافع ودفع المضار فهذا شرك أكبر.
But if he believes that this avenue or this cause or this reason or this thing in itself it harms or it benefits, then this is shirk akbar, major shirk.
وإذا اعتقد أنها سبب والله سبحانه وتعالى لم يجعلها سبب لا حسا ولا شرعا فهذا شرك أصغر.
But if he believes that this thing, it is an avenue which Allah has placed, or a means which Allah has placed, but in reality it's not a means which Allah has placed, neither in the Sharia and neither in a materialistic sense, then this becomes shirk asghar, a minor form of shirk.
مثال.
An example.
يضع على المنزل أو في السيارة أو على الولد أو في أي شيء مما يمتلك أو على نفسه. نعم. يضع الآن نعطيه.
So for example, he places on his child or his house or his car or anything that he possesses, he places.
رأس ثور.
For example, the head of a bull.
أعين الذئاب.
إيش؟
عين الذئب. فوكس.
The eye of a fox.
نعم. عين الذئاب أو
Wolf.
Wolf.
ذئب أو ثعلب أو حافر الفرس الذي يوضع في
Yeah, no. You know the horseshoe. Yeah.
نعم. أو نعل قديمة.
Or an old shoe.
أو إطارة السيارات. إطارة السيارة. تاير.
Tires.
نعم. أو خرقة سوداء.
Or black,
خرقة قماش أسود.
Yeah, like any black type of cloth or a pocket something.
أو بعض الأشياء.
Or anything.
بعض الأشياء.
Or
شجر.
part of a tree.
أو يكتب على المنزل أو على السيارة.
Or for example, a person writes on the tree, on his house, on the car, on his house.
يعني يكتب عين الحسود مثلا لا تنفع أو لا تسود. نعم يكتب كتابات موجود. نعم.
Or he writes something on his car, his house or something.
إذا اعتقد أنها هي التي تدفع فهذا شرك أكبر.
So anyway, all of these things, all of these various examples, if a person believes in his own mind that these things, these examples that the Shaykh has given, they harm or they benefit themselves in their own essence, then this is shirk akbar, this is a major form of shirk.
وإذا اعتقد أنها السبب هذا شرك أصغر.
But if he believes that these things that he has done, it's the means or cause which Allah has placed, then this is shirk asghar. It's still a form of shirk, but a minor form of shirk.
لأن الله سبحانه لم يجعل هذه الأشياء سبب دفع العين.
Why? Because Allah did not make these things an avenue or a cause of harm or an evil eye being repelled.
مفهوم؟
Understood.
طيب. هذا ما يتعلق بالدعاء وكذلك الاستعانة والاستعاذة والاستغاثة والشفاعة. نعم.
So these same principles or these same conditions and categories, they can be applied to ad-du'a, supplications or requesting, al-isti'ana, seeking assistance, al-istighatha, seeking rescue, or al-isti'adha, seeking refuge, or al-shifa, seeking intercession.
وكذلك ما يتعلق باعتقاد الناس في الأسباب.
And similarly regarding how the various beliefs that people have regarding causes or avenues or means.
صحيح وشرك أكبر وشرك أصغر.
We mentioned that which is correct and that which is shirk akbar and shirk asghar.
طيب. بعد هذا نأخذ أقسام الخوف.
So now after this, we're going to take the different categories of al-khawf, fear.
الخوف ينقسم إلى ثلاثة أقسام.
Fear, al-khawf, it can be divided into three types, or three categories.
القسم الأول
The first type
خوف عبادة وتعظيم وسر.
is a type of fear which is worship, or a type of fear which involves exaltation, or a type of fear which is done in secret.
خوف عبادة يعني يخاف من إنسان ويعبد من دون الله.
So for example, the fear of worship is when you fear somebody and therefore you worship him besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
أو يعظم هذا ويرفع هذا ويجعله في منزلة الله أو أعلى.
And the fear, the khawf of ta'zeem, the fear of exalting and exaltation, is that you fear this person so much that you exalt him to a status which is comparable to Allah.
يعني تقول لهذا مثلا لماذا لا تصلي؟
So for example, you say to a person, why don't you pray?
قال أنا أخاف من صاحب القبر.
And he says, I don't pray because I fear from the person in the grave.
نعم. فلا تخافون وخافون إن كنتم مؤمنين.
And Allah said, فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ, don't fear them, rather fear me in kuntum mu'min, if you are truly believers.
هذا القسم الأول من الخوف، خوف عبادة وتعظيم والسر، صرف لغير الله شرك أكبر.
So this is the first type of khawf, first type of fear. The fear of worship, the fear of ta'zeem, which is exaltation, or the fear in secrecy. And this, if you do it to other than Allah, if you direct it to other than Allah, it is shirk akbar.
الثاني خوف طبيعي.
The second type of khawf or fear is a natural form of fear, natural type of fear.
يخاف من اللصوص.
So for example, you're scared or you're fearful of a thief.
من قطاع الطريق.
Or for example, a highway robber, a bandit.
يخاف من النار.
Or for example, you're scared of the fire.
يخاف من السباع.
Or for
الأسود مثلا.
Or for example, you're fearful of a predator, like a lion.
ما حكم هذا الخوف؟
What's the ruling on this type of fear?
خوف طبيعي.
It's natural.
جائز لا يلام على العبد.
It's natural. It's not something that you can blame a slave for.
الرابع خوف محرم. الثالث خوف محرم.
Now the third type of fear is al-khawf al-muharram, that which is impermissible.
كطاعة المخلوق في معصية الخالق.
For example, showing obedience to the creation when there's disobedience to Allah.
إذن هذا هو القسم الثالث، الخوف المحرم والخوف المؤدي إلى طاعة المخلوق في معصية الخالق.
So this is the third type of fear, which is the fear which is impermissible. That you fear somebody so much that you obey him and instead you disobey Allah.
مثال
An example of this is
أن يطيع المخلوق في معصية الخالق. يقول له والد لا تصلي الفريضة، فهل يطيع هذا الوالد؟ لا. هل يخاف منه؟ يقول لا، ما يمكن أخاف منه، لأنه هنا في تقديم لطاعة المخلوق على طاعة الخالق سبحانه وتعالى.
So for example, a father says to his son, don't pray. It's not permissible for this son not to pray because he fears him, because if he does this, he's given precedence to the obedience to the created one over obedience to Allah.
أو القنوط من رحمة الله.
Or for example, being despondent or losing hope of the mercy of Allah.
يعني يذنب.
So first, for example, a person commits a sin
ثم يخاف
and then he becomes fearful.
من هذا الذنب يخوف الشيطان ولا يستغفر.
So then a person becomes scared and fearful over the sin that he committed from shaitan, and therefore he doesn't seek forgiveness. He's so scared of the sin that he's committed, he doesn't seek forgiveness.
والله سبحانه وتعالى يقول قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا.
And yet Allah said, O my slaves, the one who have exceeded the limits in terms of sinning, لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Don't become despondent or don't lose hope from over the mercy of Allah.
مرة أخرى.
One more time.
من يذكر لي الخوف؟ أقسام الخوف.
Who can mention the three types of الخوف?
نعم. القسم الأول.
خوف العبادة.
خوف عبادة وتعظيم وسر صرف لغير الله شرك أكبر.
So the first type of fear, as the brother mentioned, is خوف العبادة, a fear in worship or exalting or in secrecy, and to direct this to other than Allah is shirk akbar.
الثاني.
خوف تعظيم.
خوف
طبيعي.
Who shall the answer?
أنا آسف شيخ أنا الذي
الخوف الثاني خوف طبيعي.
The second type of fear is a natural human type of fear.
وقلنا هذا جبلي لا يلام عليه العبد.
And the Shaykh said that this is something which is intrinsic to every human being, and therefore a person isn't blamed on it.
خوف من اللصوص من قطاع الطريق، الخوف من السباع، الخوف من النار.
From thieves, from the fire, from bandits, from highway robbers, from a lion, for example.
نعم. الثالث
خوف المحرم.
خوف محرم.
The خوف or the fear which is impermissible.
وهو الخوف المؤدي إلى القنوط من رحمة الله أو طاعة المخلوق في معصية الخالق.
And this is a type of fear which causes a person to be obedient to somebody in disobedience to Allah or to lose hope in the mercy of Allah.
طيب ما حكم الخوف من الجن؟
Therefore the question is, what is the ruling of having خوف or being fearful or scared of the jinn?
من يعرف يرفع إصبعه.
Whoever knows, put your hands up.
ما حكم الخوف من الجن؟
What's the ruling of fearing the jinn or being scared of jinn?
خوف طبيعي.
نعم.
حسب الخوف.
هذا يقول طبيعي. غيره. نعم.
It's a natural fear.
طبيعي. نعم.
خوف محرم.
خوف محرم. غيره. نعم.
You have to ask the detail from the person.
تفصيل. نسأل التفصيل.
فتح الله عليك. نعم. أحسنت.
Good.
نسأل.
We ask the person,
تخاف ماذا تصنع؟
you fear, why do you fear? What will you do if you fear?
قال أقرأ آية الكرسي.
He says that I will recite Ayat al-Kursi.
أقول أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
I will say أعوذ بالله من كلمات التامات من شر ما خلق.
لا أنام وحدي مثلا.
I won't sleep alone, for example. I'll sleep with somebody there.
هذا الخوف أدى إلى ماذا؟ إلى التوحيد. فهذا خوف طبيعي.
So this type of fear is caused what? It's caused him to have a tawheed, reciting Surah Ayatul Kursi. So therefore this is the fear which is normal, human, natural.
وإذا قال أنه عندما يخاف من الجن يذبح لهم ويستعيذ بهم. ولو قال عندما سألنا تخاف من الجن قال نعم. ماذا تصنع؟ قال أنه يذبح لهم ويستعيذ بهم. فهذا شرك أكبر.
However, if this person fears the jinn, if you say to him, look, what will you do if you fear the jinn? He says, I'll seek refuge in the jinn. Or I'll sacrifice for the jinn. Then this is khawf, which is shirk akbar.
نعم. إذن هذا ما يتعلق بالخوف. نعم.
So this is regarding al-khawf.
الثالث
The third type,
الذبح.
or the third act of worship is al-dhabh, sacrificing.
الذبح ينقسم إلى ثلاثة أقسام.
Sacrificing, al-dhabh, we can divide it into three types.
ذبح لله
Sacrificing for the sake of Allah,
وذبح جائز
and a sacrifice which is permissible,
وذبح لغير الله محبة وتعظيما شرك أكبر.
and then a sacrifice which is done to other than Allah, which involves exaltation and it involves love.
ذبح لله هدي وأضاحي.
So for example, sacrificing for the sake of Allah, like Adha, like Eid al-Adha when you sacrifice, or Hadi in Hajj.
ذبح جائز
The permissible type of sacrificing,
يذبح حتى يأكل.
as a person sacrifices some food so he can eat.
يذبح حتى يبيع هذا اللحم جزاء.
A person is a butcher, so he sacrifices the animal so he can sell it.
الثالث
The third
ذبح
type,
لغير الله محبة وتعظيما.
the third type is sacrificing for other than Allah, and it involves love and exaltation.
شرك أكبر.
And this is shirk akbar, a major form of shirk.
يذبح للجن أو لأصحاب القبور.
For example, a person sacrifices for the jinn. A person sacrifices for a person in the grave.
يبقى معنا النذر.
So the thing that which remains now is another, taking a vow or an oath.
نذر لله ونذر لغير الله.
Taking an oath or a vow is of two types. Taking a vow by Allah and taking a vow by other than Allah.
النذر لغير الله شرك أكبر.
Taking a vow or an oath by other than Allah is shirk akbar, a major form of shirk.
نعم. ثم بعد هذا الخشية.
And then after this, al-khashya. And
الخشية هي خوف لكن خوف بعلم.
khashya is a type of fear, however this fear is built upon knowledge.
الخوف يكون من كل أحد والخشية تكون من العلماء.
Normal fear, al-khawf, everybody can have this fear, this type of fear, khawf. However, al-khashya, this fear which is built upon knowledge, only the scholars can have this type of fear. They feel this fear.
إنما يخشى الله من عباد العلماء.
As Allah said in the Quran, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ, the only ones who have this type of fear which is built upon knowledge of Allah are the scholars, the people of knowledge.
يعني أعلى من الخوف.
Meaning that this type of fear, al-khashya, is higher and more severe or higher in degree than the normal type of khawf, the normal type of fear which everybody has.
يعني نحن نطلب العلم من أسباب طلب العلم أننا نريد أن نصل إلى هذه المرتبة، مرتبة الخشية.
So for example, we are here now seeking knowledge. One of the reasons for which we seek knowledge is so we can attain this extra type of fear, al-khashya.
إذن الخشية هي الخوف المبني على العلم بعظمة من يخشاه وكمال سلطانه.
And therefore, al-khashya is fearing, it is fear built upon knowledge. And that is upon exalting the one who is feared and fearing his perfect dominion or control over everything. This is your level of fear.
أيضا التوكل.
And also we come to a tawakkul, reliance. The Shaykh has mentioned different types of worship. So another form of worship is a tawakkul, reliance.
صدق الاعتماد على الله.
Which is a truthful type of dependence and reliance upon Allah.
مع الثقة به.
Whilst trusting Him.
والأخذ بالأسباب المشروعة.
And at the same time although you rely on Allah and you trust Allah, at the same time you take the physical means and the physical avenues.
ثلاثة أشياء.
So 3 things in tawakkul.
صدق.
Number 1, truthfulness.
وثقة.
Trustworthy, you trust in Allah.
وأخذ بالأسباب المشروعة.
And then the third thing is that you, at the same time, you take the physical avenues or the means which Allah has placed on the earth.
يريد حفظ القرآن.
So for example, the brother wants to memorize Quran.
يقول أنا توكلت على الله.
He says, I rely upon Allah.
كيف نعرف المتوكل؟ ننظر إلى هذه الأمور الثلاثة.
How do we know if he's truly relying upon Allah? We look at 3 things.
الأول يكون صادق لا كاذب.
Number 1, is he truthful in his reliance or is he lying?
الثاني واثق أن الله سبحانه وتعالى ميسر له حفظ القرآن لا محالة. ما يشك في هذا أبدا.
And number 2, he himself believes in absolute certainty that Allah will make easy for me the memorizing of the Quran. And it's not impossible. Surely Allah will make it easy for me.
الثالث يأخذ بالأسباب يراجع ويحفظ.
And then the third thing is the physical means, meaning he sits down and he memorizes, he revises every single day. These are the means which Allah has placed.
الله أعلم نكتفي بهذا. تراجع الآن ما أخذنا من أقسام الدعاء وقلنا مثل باب الدعاء الاستعانة والاستعاذة والاستغاثة والشفاعة.
So the Shaykh said, I think it's enough for today. Make sure you sit with each other and you write down the different types of dua and the ruling of each dua and the ruling of al-isti'ana, al-isti'adha, al-istighatha and shifa.
وكذلك ما يتعلق بأقسام الناس في الاعتقاد في الأسباب صحيح وشرك أكبر وشرك أصغر.
And also the different types of people in terms of the belief in the means and the avenues and the causes. Either can be a correct belief or it can be shirk akbar or shirk asghar.
وأقسام الخوف الثلاثة: خوف واجب وخوف محرم وخوف جائز. هو جائز.
And then also the different types of khawf. The khawf which is tabi'i or permissible or natural to a person, and the khawf which is muharram, and the khawf which is obligatory, the khawf of worship.
والنذر قلنا نذر لله ونذر لغير الله.
And also vows and oaths, that which is for Allah and that is for which is other than Allah, and the ruling of each one.
ذبح لله.
And also sacrificing for Allah.
ذبح لغير الله محبة وتعظيم الشرك أكبر.
And sacrificing for other than Allah with love and exaltation, which is shirk akbar.
ذبح جائز.
And the permissible type of sacrificing.
وأخذنا التوكل هو صدق الاعتماد على الله.
And the definition of tawakkul, which is having true dependence and reliance upon Allah,
مع الثقة به الأخذ بالأسباب المشروعة.
while trusting Him and also taking the avenues of the causes that Allah has placed.
والخشية قلنا هي الخوف المبني على العلم بعظمة من يخشاه وكمال سلطان.
And we mentioned that al-khashya, the definition of al-khashya is al-khawf, a fear which is built upon knowledge, in terms of exalting Allah and also fearing His complete control and dominion over everything.
موعدنا إن شاء الله تعالى بعد صلاة العشاء تكتب الآن ما درسنا وبعد العشاء إن شاء الله تعالى نكمل.
So inshallah, if you just write everything down in your groups like you've been doing before, and then after Isha we'll complete the rest.
والله أعلم. صلى الله على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه.